Hello, beautiful and beloved ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions, and welcome or welcome back. And if you wonder about that strange title, in this new year, I'm going to be bringing you at the end of every other video, a message about this historic shift from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness. And I also have a full playlist if you want to check that out of 5D messages. And today is a message video, so stick around to the end. Here we go with Sweetnotes, If I Ever Fall in Love Again.
Hey! Song of you, come on. You're everything that I've been looking for. I look into your eyes, you couldn't ask for more. Woo. So it's only fair to lay it on the line. Hold on, I'm gonna need a little time. Everybody say! So if I ever fall in love again, sometimes when this broken heart can mend, I know it's gonna be you're the one to pull me through, though I don't know.
So this is live, right? So they're just having a good time with the audience, right? You can see that they're just playing around. But you can also hear what beautiful harmonies they're making. I just love the harmonies of this group here. I love to see the ones that they just recorded so we can just focus on their voices. Let me know if you have any of those in the comments, by the way. And don't forget, too, that I have now my member tiers, and you can join us. I've been furiously putting videos in there, things you might like, so check out the introductory video if you're interested in any of those tiers. Here we go. Let's continue.
And if I ever fall in love again, palakpak lahat ng mga ilang kayong gawin. Scared, I guess I'm scared of life. It's such a long way down. And yet, if you just trust in me, I'm sure I'd come around. And I know you knew it's hard to let someone inside in your arms and feel I'm ready now to try. One more time. Oh, so if I ever fall in love again, if I ever fall in love, sometimes when this broken heart can mend, I know it's gonna be you're the one to pull me through, though I don't know when. And if I ever fall in love again, I'd be a fool to ever let you go.
I still want to know. I don't know if anybody told me if these two are a couple yet, but I mean, they certainly seem like a couple, you know. In the notes, you have to let me know, comment, and let me know if these guys are a couple. It's been so crazy with the holidays. I'm still a little backlogged on getting to my comments anyway, but really, they just have such a beautiful harmony and singing with each other. Like, it's like they know each other inside and out, you know. It's like each one knows how to play off the other one in terms of their song. It's just like falling off a you know, what do you call it? Falling off a log for them, you know, to sing with each other. So that's so cool. By the way, if you're enjoying this, give me a like, give them a like later. It's always in the notes, and subscribe. Let's continue. I'll go back a little bit. Let's hear the way they interact or interplay with each other here.
So if I ever fall in love again, if I ever fall in love, sometimes when this broken heart can mend, I if I ever fall in love again. Would be a fool to ever let you go. You're the best thing in my life, and I know I've gotta take it slow.
And they're such a duet, the one knows when the other's coming to go in together, so they both walk in together at the same time. It's like they're kind of keyed into each other's mind. Each one knows, if I'm going this way, I'll go this way, and what's going to create a nice look. It's so cool.
Though I don't know when. And if I ever fall in love again, if I ever fall in love again. Yes, that's the song of Kenny Rogers and Amore. Thank you so much.
Okay, very, very sweet, very nice. Woo, all right, I give it a high five here. Very good. So that I really enjoy this band, this duet. They do a nice job together. So let's see then. We got to think about this song in terms of my scale, 1 to 5. 1 being very third dimensional, fear, pain, sadness, anger, and 10 being very fifth dimensional, love, peace, joy, harmony, bliss. The harmonious sounds of their voice and the way it sounds on your body it's very much harmonious, as a sound, as a feel. When they sing, I always hear that. I don't hear like a lot of jarring sounds. So the feel of their songs is always kind of soothing, I guess, for lack of a better word. Now, as far as the way what they're talking about, saying, if I ever fall in love, it'll be with you. So, which is a little bit weird, right? Because he's not saying he is in love, or she, not saying they are in love with each other, but they're saying, if I do, it'll be with you, which is kind of what the machinations we human beings use, to get around not admitting our feelings, or we leave ourselves an open door, so we really never say sometimes, what we really feel. So that's a little third dimensional about it, but still it's about love, and it's clearly about love. It's clearly very sweet and very lovely. So I would go on a scale of 1 to 10 with about an 8 on this song. And it's definitely raising you up and making you feel good and making you feel warm and cuddly. So, by the way, don't forget, friends, you can learn a little bit about me by going to the link here in the notes about Lorelei on Patreon. Spent many years as a life coach, transformational coach. I'm a natural healer. So there's lots of things on that page that might be of interest to you to check out. And also I want to thank you, those of you who have supported me by the Buy Me a Coffee or the Super Thanks, or even on my Patreon page. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to show me a little love, that's a good way to do it. I do appreciate it. And okay, so let's get to our 5D message. Let's see. What is the problem with making vows in 3D? Hang on a minute. So what's the problem with making vows? I say in 3D, but in general, because, we're in 3D. You see, when you get to fifth dimension, there's not even going to be such a thing as a vow. No one would ever make a vow. The angels, the archangels, they would never make a vow, right? The ascended masters would not make a vow. Why would that be? Well, let's consider why we make a vow. We say, well, I'm making a vow to stay on this diet, which presupposes, of course, that we did something wrong. We think we're too fat, whatever it may be. Most of the vows we make like that kind of thing, I'm going to go to the gym every day. These are presupposing that there's something wrong with what we did or how we did it, right? And in the higher dimensions, you never think there's something wrong with what you did or how you did it. The experience is the experience for the sheer joy of it. And if you want to have a different experience, you can go and have that different experience also for the sheer joy of it. And of course, you can shift and change your body in an instant just by your consciousness. So you never have to worry about just dieting or things like this. Saint Germain, I am 33 discourses of the I am presence, which I'm reading in the higher tier, my top tier. He talks about how a particular individual he was working with had got muscles like a bodybuilder by thought alone, by using his consciousness alone. So they would never, of course, make these kind of vows. Other vows we make in this reality. Well, we make a vow like these two, for instance. I assume they're probably a couple, right? But I don't know for sure. But let's say they are, for the sake of argument, a couple. And maybe they've made a vow to each other. I will love you forever. I will, maybe they're married, in the vows that you give and you're married forever and all of this kind of stuff, right? Now, again, this is not something that would happen in the higher realms because it sticks you in. Here's an eternal world. And here you are promising to something or other forever. You're bound, first of all, to break that promise in an eternal existence, right? You're not going to do it. You're just not going to stay with the same person forever. And nobody would want to, right? Because you want to go out and experience different kinds of individuals and different kinds of experience with other individuals. And then maybe come back to the one that's closest to your heart, as we talked about in one of my other videos, this thing we call the twin flame. But still, you would never stick yourself in that. It's just not a thing you would ever do because that would be crazy. But as Jesus said, don't make a vow by anything, not by the heaven or the earth or anything at all. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, because that's the other problem with vows. It implies that first of all, the words coming out of your mouth are so very powerful, so very strong already. Okay, so you don't want to have something come out of your mouth that then you have to retract later on. Okay, it's bad enough if you just let your yes be yes and your no be no, and you mess up and you make a mistake and you got to apologize or whatever. But if you made a vow, that's even worse because you've put your divine word into a vow and then broken it. And there's something about that does not sit well with a human being. You see, we have an innate sense of integrity and rightness and so on and so forth. So we do not, when we make a vow and then we break it, that's a schism inside of ourselves. It's not coming from the outside. Or, as was the case in my marriage, when I made the vow to love him forever, as we did in those days in the marriage vows, right? Then when problems were coming up in the marriage, I couldn't leave that marriage. My hands were tied. It's like constricting to you when you make a vow. You yourself will keep yourself in a bad situation because you made a vow toward that situation. So you see, all around, in fact, Jesus in that quote even says it's evil to make a vow. It's actually evil. You take a look at these two. They're together, perhaps. We think that perhaps they are. So I'm going to assume maybe they are, just for the sake of argument here. And they're together and they're doing these shows and they're having a great time and they're meeting millions and millions and millions and millions of people, right? Going to all these different places. And suddenly, what happens if suddenly one of them meets someone who's even more wonderful fit for them than the one that they already have, right? What do you do now if you've made a vow to the other one? It's hard enough, by the way, if that ever were to happen, because they'd have to break up their singing act, which would really stink, right? They probably would want to break up their singing act if they're a couple. I'm just assuming this. So that would be stinky, right? And that would be very, very difficult. But if you've also made a vow to be with that one forever and you're meeting all these different people and suddenly you meet one that's even better for you, a better fit for whatever reason, and that does happen, right? That really does happen. Now you've made a vow. And now you have to contend with that vow. It will probably keep you in a bad situation, something that's not working for you or not as well as you'd like it to, for a lot longer than you'd want it to. So vows in the third dimension, they're also difficult for the other person. For the other person, it's better to have your yes be yes and your no be no without a vow, because there again, if you ever come to a time where you break that vow and things do happen in life, that's the other reason not to make a vow, because life is a flowing thing, right? Things change and shift and everything else, and you need to flow with that like a mighty river. And if you've made a vow not to flow, any vow you make is a vow not to flow, by the way. If you make a vow, I'm going to the gym every day, that's a vow not to flow with that river. Because what happens when other things come up in your day that are very important, that the divine maybe wants you to participate in, you meet the love of your life, right? And suddenly, you're going, I got to go to the gym instead of go over on a date with this person. And then the whole opportunity falls away, right? Or you meet what potentially could have been the love of your life. But you said you were going to the gym, So and you don't even know it maybe, but you lost the love of your life, right? Because you didn't go on that date with the person. I'm just making that part up just make the point. But the point is, you need to be able to flow with like a river. Flow on the river. You need to be flow like a, what do you call it? A twig on the river with life. And yes, you want to have some intentions for your self-care. I have intentions all the time for getting my yoga done, for practicing my singing, for going for walks. I have these self-care intentions, but when they don't, for whatever reason, life takes me another direction, then I'm not concerned about it. I'm not ever making a vow. I'm not ever making a New Year's Eve vow to do this, that, or the other. Because number one, I want to flow with life. Number two, I don't want to break my word and have to live with the repercussions of that. You see, in the personal growth programs that I was in, keeping your word was so extremely important. So now you had to really take a look. Don't just give your word willy-nilly, because your word is a powerful thing. So even to say, yes, I will do this, not even make a vow, right? Just to say, yes, I will do this. That's powerful enough. And you did not want to willy-nilly be giving your word to things if you were not 100% sure that you were going to fulfill on it, because then you would face the consequences from your coaches and so forth, who would be having a conversation with you about, you said you were going to do this and now you didn't. So yes, we need to take a look at what we're saying out of our mouth and not just say yes or no willy-nilly without any thought. Because the other thing that happens is when you do that, vows are bad enough, but when you letting your yes be yes and your no be no, as Jesus said, right? Think what you want to really say. And if you're not sure, say, I'm not sure. Because when you say yes to someone, they're going to expect that thing. And when that thing doesn't happen because you welched out for whatever reason of being human, or maybe things just came up or whatever, but they're going to be disappointed, and that's going to color their seeing of you. That's why almost never would I give my word and say, yes, I'm going to do this, and then either not fulfill on it, or at least call and say, hey, I can't do this. I apologize. Let's make a new plan. I will absolutely never, ever at least remember that I promised that and call and make a new plan. But mostly I will fulfill on the thing I said yes to, because I don't say yes to every single thing that comes down the pike, by the way, just to shut people up, right? No, because my word is powerful. If I'm taking my word and saying yes to something, this is also how I'm creating in the universe what I want, because now the universe knows, okay, when you say you're going to do something, you make it happen. So if you say you want X, Y, and Z in your life, an RV, for instance, you're going to get it, because your word is law as a divine spark of God. Now, if you're a divine spark of God going around throwing your word around and not keeping your word, then the universe is like, well, I guess that's how she wants to be. I guess she doesn't really want those things that she's saying, because she says one thing, she says another. So I guess we'll just ignore that request. You see how that works? So you must claim your divine power, the divine spark of God. When you use this thing here, be sure of what it's saying. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. If you're not sure, say, I'm not sure. I'll let you know. And also, absolutely be very, I personally, I would never make a vow to save my life again. I would not make a vow. Well, maybe I would to save my life, but for the most part, I just would not make a vow, right? Because you don't want to stick yourself in all dimensions. That's problematic. So, okay, beloved ones, that's the end of my message for today. I'm going to send you that beautiful fifth dimensional energy, the love, the peace, the joy, the bliss, the fun, the play, the ease, and the power of your divine word, knowing that power and using that power. Sending it to you now. Namaste. I honor the God in you.